Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're looking at a topic that totally blew my mind, mostly because it bridges the gap between ancient wisdom and our hyper-accelerated modern reality. We're going to explore a truly fascinating conceptual framework laid out by Hwajaeng. He applies ancient philosophies to our modern AI-driven world. So we're essentially looking at a human survival strategy through the lenses of correlative thinking and a concept called Hwajaeng. If you've ever felt completely overwhelmed by the sheer pace of the AI era, well, this explainer is going to give you a powerful new mental framework to process all of it. Okay, let's dive right into this by asking what is arguably the biggest question of our time. How do we actually survive the AI era? And, I don't just mean survive in a strictly physical sense. I mean, how do we maintain our humanity, our sense of balance, and our social structures when technology is moving at absolutely breakneck speed? This isn't just a technical problem, right? It's a deeply philosophical and economic one. Framing our survival strategy at this macro level is critical if we want to find a workable path forward. To really understand the crisis, we have to look at the dramatic tension that defines our current economy. Right now, our world is completely obsessed with what the source material calls the infinite expansion of summer. So summer represents utilitarian efficiency. It's all about maximum growth, maximum output, and AI is obviously taking this to its absolute extreme. The problem, by constantly chasing that peak efficiency of summer, we suffer the loss of winter. Winter represents human rest, libertarian freedom, and communal repose. And without winter, a system simply cannot sustain itself. The technological hyperefficiency traps us in this endless summer, literally stripping away our restorative freedom. To navigate all this, we've got a clear roadmap today. We'll start with surviving the AI era, unpack the philosophy of Hwajaeng, apply that to the 4 economic seasons, explore the concept of vessel versus arising, look at harmonizing world religions, and finally, point ourselves toward a symbiotic future. I promise, all these dense puzzle pieces are going to snap together perfectly. Section 1. Surviving the AI era. The crisis of summer. When an economy is immersed entirely in infinite expansion, again, that constant summer state, it completely loses its fundamental balance. AI maximizes this speed to a point where human beings simply can't keep up, and that results in profound alienation. We're essentially functioning inside an economic engine that refuses to cool down. I think we've all felt that burnout, haven't we? To restore order here, we need a profound mental toolkit. We need a way to look at competing systems and find harmony instead of destructive friction. Section 2. The philosophy of Hwajaeng. Wanyo's metamodel. So the crucial point here is understanding exactly what Hwajaeng is. It's a concept systematized by the 7th century great master Wanyo. At its core, Hwajaeng is a principle that acknowledges the partial truth held by each differing position and then integrates those partial truths within a more comprehensive, higher truth. I want you to really lock on to this idea. This isn't about proving one side right and the other side wrong. It is entirely about harmonizing conflicting ideas into a unified whole. It's correlative thinking at its absolute finest. And honestly, it is wild to think we're using a 7th century Buddhist philosophy to solve a 21st century AI crisis, but it fits so perfectly. Section 3. The 4 economic seasons. Hwajaeng in economics. Now, what's really interesting to look at here is how perfectly modern economic theories map onto this cyclical, seasonal framework. It helps us understand exactly where AI fits into the puzzle. We have utilitarianism as spring, that's the arising of individual creativity and efficiency, where the economy begins. Then communitarianism is summer, the efficient expansion of shared values where society grows abundant. And this, right here, is where AI is currently pushing us to the absolute limit. Autumn is social contractarianism, the transparent, fair rules needed to resolve conflicts. And finally, libertarianism is winter, the absolute freedom and fundamental solidarity where the community finds rest, acknowledging that we are one. So these supposedly opposed economic theories, they actually complement each other. They are all necessary phases in a healthy, circulating cycle. Section 4. Vessel versus arising, structure and energy. I absolutely love this quote from the text. It says, "The conflicts of the modern economy fundamentally stem from the difference between valuing the vessel, meaning institutions and structures, and valuing arising, meaning creative energy." This right here is the fundamental tension at the heart of our economic anxiety today. Are we prioritizing the rigid rules of the container, or are we prioritizing the raw, chaotic energy of human and AI-driven innovation? So let's break down what they are exactly. The vessel is the framework. It's our laws, our institutions, the structures that hold society together. Arising, on the other hand, is the creative energy, the innovation, the individual drive that propels us forward. If we look at these through the lens of Hwajaeng, we see that they are not mutually exclusive enemies. They're actually mutually complementary. You literally cannot hold water without a vessel, but a vessel is completely useless without water to hold. As AI unleashes this unprecedented arising energy, our structural vessels have to adapt to hold it without breaking. Let's move on and see how this builds when we map our economic seasons directly onto this vessel and arising dynamic. Utilitarianism represents the arising of spring, growing the pie. Communitarianism represents the vessel of summer, the community in which individual life meaningfully arises. Social contractarianism represents the cessation or the rules of autumn, the transparent contract of the vessel. And libertarianism represents the faith arising of winter, ensuring the vessel doesn't arbitrarily infringe on individual achievements. Every single philosophy serves a distinct, absolutely necessary purpose in the overarching structure. Section 5. Harmonizing World Religions, a Universal Meta-Model. When looking impartially at the three Abrahamic religions, Judaism, Christianity, and Islam, through the lens of Hwajaeng, the text explains something profound. They all share the exact same essence or divinity at their root. Where they collide is in the phenomena. They essentially clash over the shape of the vessel. The conflicts arise not from the shared divinity inside what is called the receptacle world, but from historically clinging to the rigid shape of their respective scriptural vessels. Seeing this helps us realize that this framework can harmonize almost any human system, and that is exactly the kind of robust logic we need to organize our complex, tech-driven future. We can actually map these historical paths to the seasons of Hwajaeng, just like we did with economics. Judaism aligns with spring, the strictness of covenant and law serving as the starting point of communal order. Christianity aligns with summer, maximizing the energy of universal love and diffusing that vessel. Islam aligns with autumn, a complete devotion and absolute submission that urges a return to the ultimate essence. These three paths represent correlative manifestations, each responding to very different epical demands throughout history. And this brilliantly illustrates the core message of our explainer today. As the text states, these three religions are not mistaken about one another. Rather, they are correlative manifestations in which a single divinity has revealed itself. No single path holds exclusive correctness to the detriment of the others. They are all necessary seasons within the vast time of water that is human history. Section 6. A Symbiotic Future, Resolving the AI Crisis. So, how do we actually build a Hwajaeng-based resolution for the AI era? Well, we have 4 actionable steps. Number 1, acknowledge that community, our summer, stems directly from individual freedom, our winter. 2, pursue efficiency but strictly within the framework of a fair, transparent contract. 3, cyclically integrate all these valid theories rather than fighting over which one is supreme. And 4, we actually use the hyperconnective technology of AI not as an alienating force but as the very material foundation for this profound human connection. This is our practical toolkit for a symbiotic economy. It requires us to abandon the exclusivism that says, only my path is right. We must, as this stunning quote reminds us, acknowledge that all paths are ultimately streams of water flowing into a single great ocean. When you can step back and see the systems of the world through that lens, the noise and anxiety of competing ideologies simply dissolve into a much larger, beautiful harmony. Bringing our narrative full circle, we really must remember that the economy is not a set of static numbers on a spreadsheet. It's a time of water that circulates, just like the 4 seasons. When we integrate freedom, efficiency, fairness, and solidarity into a unified, one-mind economic model, we don't just survive the AI era, we master it. We transform it into a sustainable, peaceful reality. Understanding this cycle is really only the first step. The true challenge is applying it to your life, your work, and your community as technology just continues to accelerate. So I want to leave you with this question. How will you navigate the time of water to help build our symbiotic economy? Take a moment to think about how you balance the seasons in your own world. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and as always, keep learning.